Fightful, I've got more detail up on the on Fightful Select. This is a free story for anybody to read, saying that obviously with the federal investigations that are investigating both Vince and Johnny Ace, Fightful Select have been told earlier in the week that longtime employees personally expected Vince to be eventually charged. The quote they've got is, "If the feds raided Vince and got his phone, they'll almost surely find something." Apparently, there's people within the industry Fightful have been talking to, who have been contacted by reporters and attorneys, and have said if the names involved that have been redacted in the initial papers from Janelle Grant and her team don't come out, they're going to be willing to do it themselves and reveal the names that are in there. Apparently there are multiple mainstream outlets looking to get more information, and they're speaking to the likes of Fightful, and you would imagine the likes of David Bixenspan and other people within the wrestling space to kind of get the inside track on the wrestling side of things. Apparently a long-term employee WWE told Fightful the lawsuit isn't even the worst of it, pointing to the fact that obviously there are higher settlements here and those other cases that were alluded to there. And now you've got Johnny Ace turning on Vince McMahon, and rather than them back in the same side and telling the same story about nothing happened. That yesterday was absolutely gigantic for me, that Johnny Ace was essentially saying, that was the thing to read. I think the headline people took from it as, "Oh, Johnny Ace has betrayed Vince," and "Oh, Johnny Ace denies that this happened." Johnny Ace is basically saying it happened, but not like that. Johnny Ace is basically saying, John Laurinaitis and his legal team are saying, "I was a victim too," which indicates that he's at least saying that the stuff that Janelle Grant had put forward wasn't untrue, or at least entirely untrue, or enough of it was true. And that's the thing, JP. Just the amount of information we've got now. The text messages as we alluded to on Spotlight as well. Like, I can't believe there's anybody walking the earth right now who doesn't believe this stuff. But again, it's bad enough now. Who knows what else this is going to turn up?
I think, and it's been, a couple of people said it in the chat as well. He's just angling for a plea deal here, Johnny Ace. He's just seen the absolute writing on the wall. And it's just like, you turn straight away. You try and get some kind of immunity, and you tell him what. And he seems more than happy to tell them where all the bodies are buried in this. And it is like, there are so many things like about this that, when the fact that happened, it was like, oh, okay. And imagine the people he's going to name, and imagine who they're going to name in the process. And this is what they do. This is how they build cases, is they get everyone to kind of turn on the guy who's higher up above them, and everything comes crumbling down. And there is no plausible deniability as well. You can't, you think back to a Triple H is going to be dragged into this, whether he likes it or not. Each and every one of WWE management are going to kind of go, this is what is happening. There's no avoiding this story. There's no hiding in here as well. And I know Dave Meltzer brought it up on here about saying that actually, from a reputational perspective, this is Vince becoming kind of like, I said Savile, Epstein, Harvey Weinstein, one of those figures. Like, that is where he's going to be going into there, of the sheer scale of the crimes and the kind of like the brazen nature of it as well. And in Vince's case, the absolute brazen nature of just thinking he was above it all. There was going to be no comeback whatsoever. And you want there to be some justice for the victims, obviously, above all else, but for him truly to be kind of like properly taken to task.
Yeah, and this is the most confident I've been the heads are going to roll. Like, this is, because it's Vince McMahon at the end of the day. And like, Maria Kanellis just did a tweet before, talking about the strength of all the different women who've came forward over the years, and different women trying to use their voice and kind of getting shouted down and called all kinds of names. There's like, this has all been an open secret over the years. This was all there happening, and Vince McMahon has always been too powerful, and as we saw when they tried to get him out of WWE, just had too much power for the bit to even pull that off and got himself back. this is the weakest he's ever been. Now, the cynicist in me, JP, might think, is he going to wait for his good mate Donald Trump? If Donald Trump ends up being president, you could literally picture those fucking cunts. And Donald Trump has made the FBI one of his boo boys, and one of the things he's going after. Trying to help out Vince at some point, but Vince might be so toxic at that point that even Trump might avoid trying to help him. That's where we might end up being as far as this case goes. And it's just, like I say, that Maria Kanellis tweet is up there, and she's not the only one. There are many women who've been involved in wrestling over the years who've been using, the voice. This week I did see Missy Hyatt make a couple of comments. I saw Medusa make a couple of comments.
Yep.
It's going to be so much, again, it's not even just that, Vice, we got a piece from them as well. We can go into, talking to different people involved and the victims involved, as well as other women and men who've worked in, WWE and around Vince McMahon over the years. The FBI are talking to these people as well. I've kind of got to put that cynicism hat down and kind of say, yeah, I honestly think this is happening. I think we're actually going to get him this time. And you keep saying, it's going to be taking the entire establishment down. This is not going to end at Vince. Like the amount of different names that are going to come out of this, of who knew what and what big nosed cunts who worked in the office next door knew and didn't know, and what all the different people, the names we know and the names we don't know, what all of those people knew and didn't. Because it feels as well. The other piece, Raman pulls us up in the chat. There was something I was going to mention. The other thing in this Fightful piece, mentioning that there's been, no talent that they'd spoken to appear to have had a talent-wide meeting or claimed they'd been briefed on the situation. Instead, apparently, the higher-ups want to move past Vince McMahon and put him in the rear view. There's talent they've heard from that believe Vince is delusional enough to work his way back, but I don't think that's going to be possible at this point. But Fightful saying as well that basically the attitude from the people involved in WWE, and stop me if you've heard this before, JP, is look how big the Netflix deal is. Let's focus on the positives and move forward. Those empty words that Triple H said at the presser appear to be the same words that they're saying internally to the wrestlers, which indicates to me they are not giving this the degree of certainty this degree of seriousness it deserves. Like, I was under no illusion that Triple H, maybe when he said he hadn't read this thing, I think maybe what that meant was he'd been briefed on it, but he'd not read it himself, and he just didn't want to answer any more questions. But I stuck to my guns when we talked about it on Spotlight, and it's absolutely what I believe. Triple H has shown himself to be not competent to deal with this type of thing, despite all the fancy titles he's had over the years. All he's ever really been is Vince McMahon's work experience boy. Very good work experience boy, but he's basically been Vince McMahon's lapdog over the years. And I honestly am now in a position where I'm like, I'm not sure actually after everything whether he's going to be staying standard. If they're doing this amount of digging, his name's going to come up. His name's going to come up either on what he knew, what he didn't act on, what he saw firsthand. Like, it's all going to come out, and I don't think anybody is going to be safe going forward. And I just don't think the company is ready for the extent of this. And I think that was shown when TKO bought them in the first place. It was shown when they had Vince McMahon in front of the stock exchange last fucking week, when this fucking shit show was about to come. And it's been shown in the public response so far and their internal response so far, if this Fightful report is to be believed.
Oh, yeah. And this shows, and you're completely spot on with all of the comments you've made. And the other thing with this is it shows how they just thought they could behave like they always have done within wrestling, which is, and this is always Vince's thing, of we ignore the real world. We just ignore the real world. The real world doesn't count because it's wrestling and we rule this world and it's different and it's not regulated and people don't take it seriously. So therefore we can get away with this stuff. Well, now you've got real world people looking at this with a degree of scrutiny that it has never gone through, that we thought possibly in speaking out or something like that was ever going to happen. But actually one of the issues is that we knew ourselves, the person who runs wrestling effectively in Vince McMahon, how his reaction to so much of this stuff is like, well, he's still there. They're still the biggest game in town. They're what people aspire to do. And you have to make him happy in order to work there, which means that was the whole big problem. And now it feels like, and the thing is, I think when you see a Medusa and a Missy Hyatt come out and talk about this, you think there is going to be so much stuff and so many stories, because you want people to feel finally empowered and feel comfortable enough to be able to say, do you know what? I'm gonna tell my tale, and I am gonna say exactly what this is like, and the names are gonna be named, and there's no hiding. There's not going to be any hiding place whatsoever for any of this for wrestling. And, you know, wrestling has needed this since time immemorial. Since it has always needed this. It's always felt scuzzy. And you know what? It's been run by the scuzziest person in all of this stuff. And yeah, I think, like, I was like I say, I was quite bullish on like the old boys club getting destroyed. I think that's going to happen. And I think if you want to think of the likes of, just naming names, Bruce Pritchard, what does he know? Like, he's gone, fucked. And do you know what? Good. Like, and I think
he's getting his tricep looked at, apparently.
Yeah. Oh yeah, exactly. All of these people, and it's going to go across other companies as well. I think there's going to be an idea of, well, actually, what is there to be afraid of? That it feels like there's going to be proper investigations. They're going to look at the corporate culture of WWE, what kind of company, what was being run, and how people kind of react to it. And you feel that so many of the talent are going to have so many stories, like along the way of horrible situations that people were put into.
You can feel it in the air because, like I say, Johnny Ace jumping the ship is gigantic. Even down to things like, you know, like this. I know Bruce Pritchard's gone into hiding, but like the talking heads like Eric Bischoff, you know, the types of people who would like probably talk hard about sides of the mouth and go, oh, it doesn't look good for Vince, and kind of move on with the day. Even they're kind of washing their hands of it because, one, they know Vince hasn't got the power to fuck with them anymore, and two, it's black and white for everybody to see, you know, exactly what's going on here. And like I say, there's going to be, like you said, there's going to be nowhere to hide, whether it's further court action, more is going to come out, or whether it's through the fucking federal government pushing this, things are going to come out. And another big element of this, JP, like, apparently, yeah, Vice have done another report on this as well. At this point, the articles keep coming. I'm trying to keep up with them as a time of recording, but like, yeah, real journalists are digging right now, JP.
Oh, they are, exactly. And I think in terms of the Vice article on here, this is basically them reporting that the NDAs that Vince signed behind WWE's back are maybe worthless. And I think this is that they effectively could be they have several significant issues that could make them unenforceable, according to reports on here. Obviously, in the case of Janelle Grant, they not all of the hush money was paid, so therefore the NDA becomes void. And if the similar language is used in the other NDAs, then those agreements may end up being set aside, which obviously we're talking about sort of larger dollar figures involved in there as well. And this is going to be absolutely catastrophic for WWE in here as well, because you look at
it's the language of them, isn't it? That it's like, basically like you can't talk about WWE. And like the argument back is like, well, you know, because they had, you know, some of the victims of Harvey Weinstein, one of their lawyers looked at the NDAs and was like, they're not worth the paper they're printed on. Because like a lot of them, like if you took the win of just this one NDA that Janelle Grant's got, then it basically says she can never talk about WWE. Well, what if she goes for a job? How can she not mention WWE in a job interview? Like, and apparently, like that was the other thing. One of the things I noticed, because they forwarded the NDA along with all of the legal papers when Janelle Grant went public. And I did note that it was like, isn't it weird that it's signed by Janelle Grant, but where it's Vince McMahon's signature supposed to be and the WWE signature supposed to be, it's not there. No, that was the final copy that Janelle Grant got, because she never got the final side copy from Vince and WWE, because Vince, the carny bastard, who uses Jerry McDivitt as his personal lawyer as well as the WWE company lawyer, had signed both himself and not put them through WWE properly. Like, that's my understanding of it. I think I'm accurate there, JP. That's why there was all that kickoff, wasn't there, with the, you know, Vince using WWE money and having to now pay it back, and they having to adjust the accounts over years, because the company should never have been paying that money, because that, you know, indicates all kinds of liabilities on the company's side. Like, they wanted it to say a personal thing for Vince McMahon, but in the meantime, he's signing both sides of the checks. Like, that's another fucking massive hole in it, isn't it? Like,
exactly.
The more these stitches get pulled back, they've just got no comeback, no defenses.
And there's precedence with Fox News and Roger Ailes. in this. Like former Julie Roginski was at Fox News, and it brings her up in the Vice article as well. And that they looked at the NDA and they said, well, it's too broad. And obviously you've got that. And in the case of Vince here as well, him using company money to basically put WWE in the position where it should be Vince McMahon is making a sign an NDA as well. So I think in that sense, absolutely fucked.